With F1 testing over and the first race of the season just days away, everyone is eager to see who will challenge Max Verstappen for a title this year. McLaren were his closest competitors at the end of 2023, and plenty of fans are hoping for a repeat of that strong form from the papaya team. But are they actually going to be anywhere near Red Bull? Maybe we should be expecting a repeat of the start of 2023, not the end. Today, I'm going to check out the pessimistic reviews of McLaren's preseason testing and the downbeat mood within the team. Let's get to it. Oscar Piastri is one of the most promising talents on the F1 grid at the moment. Going into his second F1 season, he'll have high hopes of building on the 2 podiums he earned in 2023. When McLaren poached him from Alpine to give the rookie a seat in F1, everyone was saying that the hype around him may have gotten out of control, but by the end of the season, he'd put in one of the best rookie performances in recent memory, probably the best since Hamilton. Though one of the standout features of his rookie season was that for around half of it, he had one of the best cars on the grid, something that just doesn't happen anymore, as it's normally the backmarkers who look to save money with inexperienced drivers, and the top teams then pick up the best of the bunch after they have a few seasons of experience under their belt. While Oscar may need a season or 2 more to really prove his F1 credentials, his teammate Lando Norris is the real deal already. 5 podiums in the last 8 races of the season catapulted him to a 6th place finish in the Drivers' Championship, and a single point more would have put him into 4th, ahead of Fernando Alonso and Charles Leclerc on 2nd place finishes. Talk to pretty much any fan or anyone around the sport, and they'll say that given the right car, Lando Norris can be a world champion. McLaren are a championship-winning team. They've done it more recently than Ferrari and more times than Mercedes. But for over a decade now, financial troubles have dragged them down into the midfield. That is starting to turn around though, and with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri at the team, they look like a seriously competitive outfit. Lando Norris solidified that viewpoint by putting his faith in them earlier in the year. McLaren announced in January that Norris had signed a multi-year extension to his previous deal, which had been set to expire in 2025. Less than a week later though, Ferrari confirmed that Hamilton would be joining from Mercedes in 2025, shaking up the driver market and leaving a highly desirable Silver Arrow seat available for next season. Lando though is confident that he made the right choice, picking McLaren over Mercedes. "I'm very happy," Norris said as preseason testing came to a close in Bahrain on Friday. "I could have waited, I had the choice. I knew opportunities were potentially coming my way. I knew what opportunities I had at the time of last year and coming into this year and what could have happened, or what is happening over the next couple of years anyway. So no regrets from any side. I'm confident in my team. I'm confident in what we've been able to achieve and what we can achieve going into the future, and I'm very happy with where I am." In terms of driver lineups, when you compare McLaren to the rest of the grid, plenty of people will argue that they have the strongest in the sport. Lando could have gone anywhere he wanted. There is a seat at Red Bull and Mercedes available for 2025, but he chose to stick at McLaren, and the team have to reward that vote of confidence with a competitive car. In 2023, they failed to provide a car worthy of Lando's talents until halfway through the season. After the big upgrade to the car in Austria, he rewarded the team with 7 podiums in the season's remaining races. But if the team is serious about competing for championships, they can't throw away the first 8 races of the season. Yet that is a mistake that they might be making again. Lando admitted that the team's preseason testing program in Bahrain had not gone completely to plan. In 2023, brake cooling issues completely ruined their preseason test, limiting them to 312 laps, the least of any team last year. This year, McLaren completed the second least laps of the 10 teams, as a series of technical issues hampered their progress. 328 laps is only a 16-lap improvement on 2023. It was Norris who was the worst affected by the issues over the 3 days, losing time on Thursday due to a fuel system issue, before then having his running on Friday cut short owing to a clutch problem. The amount of laps you get done is so important to your preparation for the season and the planning of your upgrades for the rest of the year. It really can't be understated the importance of getting as many laps in as possible over the 3 days. Completing over 25% less laps than Haas, who completed more laps than anyone else and were the surprise package of the test, is simply not good enough. The team will say that finding the clutch and fuel issue before the first race starts is a good thing, but in private, they will not be happy. Speaking about what the lost running time did to his preparations for the 2024 season, Lando said, "Just a few setbacks here and there actually over the last few days. So not the end of the world, definitely, but just of course you always want a perfect day, and we didn't get any long running high fuel stuff last night, and we moved into this morning, and we still didn't get it this morning. So not exactly what I wanted, but there's still plenty of things learned and a lot of stuff that I wanted to get done. So I was happy for the most part, but a couple of little things that I wished I could have done more." Despite the less than ideal start to the season, there are some positives for McLaren. Having covered 1,775 kilometers over the 3-day test, the team have improved on their total from the previous 2 seasons. Norris says he's feeling a lot better about their situation leading up to the new season. "I think the issues we've had over the last few years were just a lack of preparation and knowledge of certain things," Norris said. "This year, I think we've been definitely a lot more prepared in every area, so I'm very happy about that. While preseason testing may have gone a little better, what really matters is how the car performs on track at this weekend's Bahrain Grand Prix. A good preseason test can set you up for a strong season, but McLaren don't want to be scrambling for competitiveness again. That's not how you win F1 titles. Unfortunately though, they might be doing just that. When McLaren first introduced its 2024 Formula 1 car, we all wondered if it was real or a well-dressed up render. It was very careful with its image editing and angle choices to avoid giving away much about its floor edges, the area at the back of the front suspension, heading toward the floor, and the side pod inlets in particular, and team members were even joking about the efforts to hide key details. They said there were loads of things they weren't showing that we would see at testing, but that just wasn't the case. The car we saw at testing had nothing that was particularly exciting or revolutionary on it. Instead, the team started talking about upgrades that were in the works that would bring loads of performance. This is exactly what happened last season though, and that simply is not good enough. If McLaren are serious about being a championship winning team, they have to be challenging for podiums and race wins from the outset. Even if you need some upgrades to get into a race winning position, being on the podium from race 1 is vital to winning the sport's biggest prizes. But they've made the same mistakes again. Red Bull and Ferrari were both incredibly impressive in the Bahrain tests, and according to Norris, both teams will be ahead of McLaren at next week's season opener, even if he feels his squad has made solid progress as well, and is starting the year much more on the front foot than it did in recent campaigns. "Do I think we've taken a step forward? Absolutely," Norris said on Friday at the end of testing. "Do I think we've made a lot of things better? Yeah. But you just never really know at the end of the day where we stand compared to the others. I think we're in a good position. We had a decent car at the end of last season. I think we've definitely taken some steps in the right direction, but I think it's still a very long way behind Red Bull and a long way behind Ferrari. So plenty of work for us to still try and achieve, but also plenty of things that we've learnt over the last few days for us to implement before next week." Oscar Piastri was equally as subdued about his team's car for the start of the season. "We still have work to do on some things, but certainly some aspects of the low-speed handling, and just handling in general, I think we've made a step forward. We've not been able to tackle everything in the time that we've had in the off-season, so there's still a lot of hard work going on to fully make the car a bit nicer to drive," he said. "So some improvements, but definitely some areas where we want to make some decent steps forward." After being Red Bull's closest challenger for the final third of the 2023 season, it looks like McLaren have taken a step down the F1 pecking order, and instead of fighting for podiums, they're going to be battling in the midfield. Definitely not the way they wanted to be starting the year. Are you surprised by McLaren's poor testing? Were you expecting more from a team that was so strong at the end of last year? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.